Do you back up your spouse?
I can't do it.
No, that's not what you said.
What did I say? We'll show you how. I'll forget that I gotta sit up like a freak.
Don't say that. Just stop.
You ready?
Yeah. Welcome back to Adore Your Spouse, where marriages get happier. My dad married and had 5 kids. And then he divorced, and I'm the first child of another 5 kids. Yes, there are 10 siblings. It's crazy. But I was their first child. And then they proceeded to have more children. And those older kids kept coming and living with us. And sometimes for the whole school year, sometimes just for the summers. And so my mom at a very young age not only had a new baby, but she had a whole bunch of stepkids. And she was fantastic at trying her best to love them and to be there for them and to treat them like her own. But it wasn't always easy, and she'd never been a mom before, and so she got to be a mom to her own kids and to stepkids at the same time, and that's tough. And what made it even more complicated was the fact that my dad was 11 years older than my mom, and his oldest child was 12. And so that meant that my mom at 21 was already trying to parent teenagers. Just imagine.
Which she had been one.
It's a little mind-blowing. So it was a super tough situation, and my dad did something really quite awesome. And at the time, his kids probably didn't think it was all that awesome, and they did really struggle with it at times, but it really kept the marriage intact and happy. And this is especially important for, we have so many step families now, so many second marriages and combined families. He sat his kids down, and he said, you know, with my mom there, and said, "This is your mom. You do what she says. I am going to side with her. I am going to let her discipline you, and what she says goes."
Brilliant.
Well, I mean, it meant that sometimes she disciplined those kids in a way that they didn't like. Now, of course, if someone is abusive, let's not go with this plan.
Right.
But what we wanted to mention today is that you need to back up your spouse, especially when it comes to complicated circumstances where other people are involved, and of course in this case with parenting.
Well, this is one of the major problems in second marriages, is that they're having a parenting problem, right?
Yes.
And some people might say, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to back them up because I don't trust them. Well, why in the world did you marry them, first of all, if you don't trust them? But maybe you're going to say, well, I trust them in lots of ways, but I've seen them since we've got married and I don't trust them as a parent. So what in the world do you do there? Well, you've got to find and search and live the parenting principles, because your spouse will be in line with parenting principles, because when you parent with principles, you're parenting correctly.
Yep. So if you're struggling to do something like this, and I see it with, you know, people in their first marriage with their children,
Yes.
Summer comes around. And dad says it's fine to sleep in till 1, and mom says it's not fine to sleep in till 1. You know, dad says this, mom says this. Well, who's going to back up who? Who's going to be right? This is something that you've got to work through together as a couple, because it's causing, not only does it cause complications for the kids, but it can cause a major rift in your marriage if you're not more unified in how you're going to approach these kinds of problems. And honestly, in a lot of cases, the details don't matter. Like,
No,
is it grounding for 2 nights or 1 night? You know, is it keys taken away or you have to pay your own insurance? So often the details of what we're doing, especially in this case with children, doesn't matter nearly as much as a united front.
And it's important that that united front comes behind doors, that you don't start having an argument in front of your children and saying and trying to discuss it in front of them. You should go behind doors, and if they're not there, you say, I just need to talk to your dad about it, or I need to talk to your mom about it first. And kids are going to try, and you know how kids are. You were one, and you did the same thing, right? You're going to try to get this with the parent that's going to be the most lenient, let you get what you want. And if they don't let you by chance, you're going to try to go with the other one. So it's important that you discuss these things in advance, and then when something new comes up, say, well, we've got to talk about it, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah. So our challenge for you this week is, whether it's a first marriage, a second marriage, a third marriage, if you're dealing with a situation with children where you're struggling to have a united front, the challenge is this. If you're already in trouble in this area and it's already a struggle, then agree that you're going to discuss each new situation as it arises with the kids until you find ways to be unified. And if you really are struggling, get some good parenting books.
Yeah. And let me interject one last thing, is that you could be this if you're older and all your children are married and grown, this can still apply.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much for watching. Please pass it on and subscribe below. And remember that over at adoreyourspouse.com, you can take the free assessment and you can sign up for our free marriage class, and that you can have the happy marriage that you want.
When we went to the Symphony Gala, and we'd only been married for what, 2 years? We need to do that again, because she dressed up in like a prom dress type thing, and I was in tux, wasn't I?
Something.
It was cool though, and it was a rare thing that we've done, and we need to do that. We go on dates all the time, but obviously we need to do one of those again. Now, some people will say a few things like,